Farmers Policy Perks are that little extra something you can get when you're a farmer's customer. So to tell you about them, we're adding a little extra something to this ad. Another me. And when you have multiple farmers policies, you could save up to 45% on your auto insurance with the Auto Multi-Policy discount. What's going on with our voice? I thought I'd add some drama. Well, isn't that something? Get a quote at farmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available with select Farmers branded policies. Subject to terms and conditions. Underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges, Farmers New World Life Insurance Company or affiliate.
Hey, I'm Peter Bukowski, host of the Locked On Today podcast. Trying to stay on top of every big story in sports is a full-time job. I know, because it is my full-time job. But it's not yours. That's why we have a network of local experts ready to give you the inside scoop on everything you truly need to know in the sports world. And we do it every day to make sure you're always caught up on the latest and greatest in sports. Listen to the Locked On Today podcast every day on the Odyssey app or wherever you get podcasts.
It's not a surprise, but this is a day we've been waiting for a very long time. And our kids, we have 3 of them under 7. They're now eligible for the vaccine, and they will be getting it. Of course, the CDC authorizing the immediate distribution of the Pfizer vaccine for kids ages 5 to 11. But I get it. There is some hesitancy out there, even among people who are the first in line to get the vaccine themselves. When it's your kid, there's a little bit different feeling, right? It's like, well, do they need it? I've seen the data on kids on death and serious illness. So do I need to get it for them? And also what, I have some hesitancy. I get it. There was a Gallup poll that said 80% of people who are even fully vaccinated say they would get the shot for their child, which means 20% wouldn't. So what we wanted to do today, we wanted to educate, we wanted to help people understand, we wanted to get your questions answered. So we have Dr. Atul Grover, Executive Director with the Association of American Medical Colleges Research and Action Institute. Dr. Grover, how are you?
I'm doing great, and I agree. It's good news.
Yeah, this is great news. It is a great morning. Let me start here. I know there's a lot of questions coming in and parents have, because right there are most precious. There are most precious people in our lives, right? Our kids. We want to make sure that everything's safe for them. I guess, are there any risks or side effects for kids getting this Pfizer vaccine?
The short answer is no, not really. If you look at the 5 to 11-year-olds studied, the general risk of adverse reactions, things like soreness or feeling kind of, unwell for a day or so, were about the same. But it turns out, at least with the number of kids that have been studied thus far, they didn't even see any of the more serious side effects that they had sometimes seen in adults or older children. So this really makes this continue to be one of the safest vaccines we've ever had.
Yeah. Okay, so I got a bunch of questions here from listeners, if you're okay for me to kind of ask them. Dr. Grover, can you get the COVID shot and the flu shot at the same time? You're a child.
Yes, you can. If you are reluctant to do that, you can space them out by about 2 weeks. Part of this is just a general approach of, are you the rip the Band-Aid off kind of person and get it all at once, or you want to stretch it out? But no problem doing either approach.
Yeah. Okay. So, and that, that's kind of timely for our kids too. I know our kids, they're getting
the flu vaccines.
Exactly. Right. So they're going to be there anyway. We may as well get the COVID shot as well.
If you can bribe them with an extra lollipop or something, do it. Do it.
Okay, Dr. Grover, the data, we've seen the data that kids don't get COVID as bad or the symptoms as bad. So, why do they need to get this particular shot?
Well, I think it's a good question, and I applaud parents for, wanting to do the best thing possible for their children. We do know that in the last couple of months with the Delta variant, we've had, close to a quarter of the people who are really sick or getting hospitalized be children, and I think you want to avoid that. There's also been about 100 or so deaths in kids, and these can all be avoided with the COVID vaccine in the vast majority of cases. So you're looking at the risk of severe illness, potentially long COVID, or sometimes even this, what we call MIS-C, with a multi-system inflammatory syndrome related to COVID that can occur rarely in children. All of these things are much more likely if kids get COVID. They are highly unlikely if they get vaccinated. So this is really the main point here, is these vaccines are safe and they will keep your kids safer than potentially exposing them to COVID.
Yeah, right on. Dr. Atul Grover here. If you want to learn more, vaccinewise.org. I know a lot of parents, and this is one that comes up to me all the time, but they either for themselves or for their kids now, but we don't know the long-term side effects here. Can you put people at ease there, Dr. Grover?
Yeah, I think, we have experience with vaccines going back 100 years, and these vaccines are really based on science. The mRNA technology has been under study and placed in other trials really for like the last 20 years. So we have a lot of experience with these, and I think, you want to be extra careful with kids to make sure that there's no scientific suspicion that anything you do could affect them long-term with a vaccine in terms of development or reproduction, and there is no evidence of any of that. So not only is there kind of no scientific plausibility or kind of rationale behind why these vaccines would do anything to affect development or fertility, we also have no evidence of it in the older kids or now the younger kids that we've given the vaccines to.
Yeah, right on. Okay, what about breakthrough infections? Even if you get the vaccine, we've seen that in adults now with the different variants. If you're vaccinated, could we still expect breakthrough infections with this particular age group?
Yeah, I think you will, and it's because no vaccine is 100% effective. We've never had one that was, and so you will sometimes get people who get an infection. Many of those people will be asymptomatic, and the majority of people who get a breakthrough infection, I was one of them, just felt kind of sick for a couple of days and quarantined, but it kept me, and it will keep others from becoming severely ill so that they need to be hospitalized. We think it'll probably protect against any long-lasting or permanent damage from COVID. And most importantly, you're not going to die if you've been vaccinated and you get infected.
Yeah, right, exactly. And that's the bottom line here, too.
Yeah.
Let's look at schools real quick. I mean, do you think that this will allow schools to be I guess change policies or update policies that they may have, if kids are now getting vaccinated 5 to 11, that age group, you wouldn't have to miss school, or at least for as long, right? Because I think right now, even if you're a close contact, you could be out 10 days, 14 days, something like that. This would change policy, right?
Yeah, I think gradually. And remember, we only have about half of our older children right now that are vaccinated. So we really need to make a big push. And I think, the scientific, medical, public health community, we need to do a better job of answering people's questions so they're not forced to go to social media and try and find answers on their own. But I do think that if we can get these vaccinations into kids' arms, go to your pediatrician, go to your pharmacy, hopefully we'll be able to make that easy for people. Then we can actually start scaling back in terms of some of these quarantine and isolation policies if people have been vaccinated. And hopefully, if you can get transmission rates down and a large proportion of people vaccinated, we can even start backing away on some of the masking requirements indoors.
Yeah, very cool. Dr. Atul Grover, it is a great day. Thank you so much for taking time, and I'm glad we're able to answer people's questions.
All right, go get those kids vaccinated.
No doubt. He's the executive director with the Association of American Medical Colleges. That is the AAMC, and it's a nonprofit dedicated to transforming health through medical education, healthcare, and research. And if you want to learn more, you want to get your, hopefully we answered your questions. If we missed one, vaccinewise.org.
Hi, I'm John Favreau, host of Crooked Media's new weekly series, Offline with John Favreau. If you feel like the internet is breaking our brains, but you still can't put the phone down, this show might help. Each week, I'll be talking to people like Monica Lewinsky, Megan Rapinoe, Peter Hamby, and DeRay McKesson about all the ways our extremely online existence is shaping politics, media, entertainment, sports, business, and more. New episodes of Offline with John Favreau drop every Sunday on the Pod Save America feed. Listen on Odyssey or wherever you get your podcasts.
Farmers Policy Perks are that little extra something you can get when you're a farmer's customer. So to tell you about them, we're adding a little extra something to this ad, smooth saxophone riffs. When you have a farmer's home policy with guaranteed replacement cost, if your home gets destroyed, we'll pay to rebuild it regardless of your limits. Dig it. It's a whole lot of something. Get a quote at farmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Optional coverage not available in every state. Only available with select farmers-branded policies. Subject to terms and conditions. Underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate.
Man, there are a lot of podcasts out there.
Definitely. I mean, there's 3 million shows, 50 million episodes, and more every day.
I mean, who has the time to figure out which ones are the best podcasts?
We do. That too. What's up, guys? I am Alicia Renee.
And I'm Dax Holt.
And we are your hosts of Pod Sauce, a podcast discovery show.
Look at us as your podcast concierge.
We do all the work for you. We listen to the shows, review them,
pick the best episodes, and interview the hosts.
Pod Sauce. Let us help you find your next binge. Tell them where to go, Dax.
Go to podsauce.com.